the point in this video here is going to be to introduce you to the editor in MATLAB. And so the previous video was about the command window, which I have down here, which again just basically functions as a calculator. If you were going to make any complex programs, you wouldn't want to do this under the command window. Okay? We'd want to do that in our editor here. And you actually may not see the editor here yet, so I want to close mine real quick. Okay? You have two ways you can make the script pop up. You can hit add new script, or if you go to new here, you can see that you can add lots of new things. But I'm going to hit add a script. And right now this is titled as Untitled 3. If we want to, we can go ahead and save this as something. And is what I would like to do with this script that we're about to create here is just make a very basic script, and it's going to be a script that just helps us find the distance between 2 points, something very simple. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit save as. Let's maybe call this distance, and I've been putting all my files here into this file here, MATLAB. That's what I named it. I'm going to hit save. And next thing I want to do, which it's a good habit, but if you're being really careful, you won't need to do this, but I'll explain it as I go here. So I like to start off with clear all, and what this is going to do is it's going to clear all stored variables. And the idea is, if maybe I was using the variable x in some other project I was working on, and I want to use that variable again in this new program, I don't want there to be any conflict between those two projects I'm working on. And so this will take care of that. But let's say I just wanted to clear the variable x, maybe not all the variables, maybe there's just one I want to clear. You can actually do that. You can say clear x, and that'll do the trick. We're going to just go with clear all. Even though I have no variables stored, you can see my workspace, there aren't any. It's just a good habit to do this. And then close all. Not quite as important. And again, I don't have any figures open, and that's what this does, is this will close any open figures. So if I have any MATLAB generated graphs or videos that I've made, it'll close those. Okay. And then next, CLC, and this clears the command window. And this is the one that I like to do more than the two above. CLC is really helpful here because the command window can get pretty cluttered. Okay, and next step here, well, oftentimes when we are writing a program, well, somebody else is going to read it. Okay, and so it's helpful to write in comments. And so if you actually use the % here, you can write any comments you want after that, and when you run your program, it's not going to read those comments. So let's just start off with saying point x1, y1. Okay. And so this is going to be the first point that we'll be considering when we go to use our distance formula here in a minute. Okay. And so I could say, say x1 is equal to, how about 3, and y1, let's make that 4. It doesn't really matter what number we choose here. Okay. And I'm actually going to run this right now, even though we're not even done with our goal here. So let's just run it and see what happens. Okay. And you can see it's displaying x1 and y1. And in the long run, we actually don't really care to have the program output x1 and y1 because, well, we input those things. So if you want to suppress seeing those things in your command window, you can use the semicolon. Okay. And so now you can see if I run it, it doesn't show you anything, but you can see over here that x1 is stored as 3, y1 is stored as 4. Next, we need another point, right? If we want to find the distance between 2 points. So how about x2, y2? And how about 7, suppress it, and y2 and let's say 11, and let's also suppress that. Okay? And so the last thing that we're going to need here is our actual distance formula. That was our goal, right? So the next thing we'll do is we'll type that in, and let's use maybe capital D here as our variable for the distance. So we have capital D equals, and to type in the square root here, we want SQRT, and then parentheses. And we would like to have in these parentheses, let me move that a little bit, we'd like to do what? X2 minus X1 and square it, plus, and then we have Y2 minus Y1, and we want to go ahead and square that. Okay. I have a little bit of extra space here. Let me make that look a little bit better. Okay, there we go. That should do the trick, and notice I'm not suppressing it this time. I'm not suppressing this last thing, because this is what I'm interested in finding is the distance, right? So let's go ahead and hit run and see if we have any issues. Okay, there it is. There's our distance. And the nice thing is if I want to say find the distance between two other points later, I can just go in here and replace what x1, y1, x2, and y2 are, and that's it. Okay. Now, we can actually make this even easier to use. We could do something that we'll call creating a function, okay, to where we can just input x1, y1, x2, y2, and it'll output the distance. And again, this will be in, honestly, a more useful format when we write it as a function. But we don't need to do that, and we don't need to do it yet. We will talk about functions a little bit later. Okay? But there's our first script. In our next video, let's maybe try and make a for loop.